Welcome to Lead, Grow, Live, where our goal is to help you lead your people, grow your company, and live your life.
Hey, Dustin, are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Oh my gosh,
what
I'm
is
super
happening?
excited. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome everybody to Lead, Grow, Live. I am your host, but I am not Jeff Martin, who is the founder of Lead, Grow, Live and who is in the studio today. And I am a little giddy, rightfully so, I feel like. Are you really excited, Dustin?
Super excited.
Yes!
Ask him all the things that we have not been able to ask him.
I can't wait.
Exactly.
I have a whole bunch of questions.
golly.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Go as long as you want to go.
As long as we want to go. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to switch and be in this seat. This is my first ever podcast interview where I am doing the interviewing.
It's a different feeling.
It is. Even in the studio, it's a different seat here. So I'm Tara Bienvenue. You all may have heard me on one or more of the podcasts that I've had the privilege to be a guest of. So are you ready?
Ready or not,
Yeah,
here we are.
Here we are.
I'm in the guest seat. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
I warmed it up for you.
Yeah. Thanks
Okay,
a lot.
good. You're going to do just fine. Yeah, you're going to be great. Okay, here's my first question. Okay. What is it by the time our conversation ends, okay, however long that takes, what is it that you want your listeners of this episode to know?
Probably a little bit more about what makes me tick. I would certainly like them to understand the outcome we are pushing for, that we're just passionate about in Company Growth Advisors and Company Growth Academy to deliver our clients. Because that's, when it comes down to it, I honestly believe that I am doing what God put me on earth to do. This is not necessarily about getting clients, but this is how we help our clients. So I'd love them to know that.
Okay. So what is it that you're passionate about?
I work with my clients to figure this stuff out, but it's taken me years and years and years to understand that God put me on the earth to help business owners lead peaceful lives. It's really that simple. The way I do it is by helping them grow their companies and removing them from the day-to-day chaos, right? And so what I always say is better company, better life.
Better company, better life.
Yep.
So give us a bit of a background, Jeff, for those that might be new here that don't know you. Rewind the tape a little bit and kind of give us an overview of the journey that brought you all the way up to Company Growth Advisors.
If I were to go back to my childhood, I mean, that's going far back. I was surrounded by entrepreneurs. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandfather was the ultimate entrepreneur. Truly an unbelievable person. At one point in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, he owned about 60% of the apartment complexes. He ultimately owned about a third of the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas at one point. He was amazing, and I was there to witness all of it. I had no idea as a kid that I was just in an MBA program, you know what I mean?
Real life MBA program. Yeah.
And understanding how he went about it. He never sat down and taught me anything. He never said, this is what I want you to learn. But looking back, I learned an amazing amount of things from my grandfather, just observation. So much that I realized early on that I didn't want to have a 40-year career at a job.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, the only paycheck job I've ever had is 4 years in the military. So I've either been self-employed, a business owner, or an entrepreneur my entire life.
And did you know that with clarity like that, or is it just
100%.
kind of the path that you ended up going and then kind of look back and go, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I would say people would, I was a little chubby, and people would, think I was a cute little kid, just pinch my cheek. What do you want to do when you get on? I want to own my own business. I want to own my business. Well, what do you want to do? I had no answer there. I could have sold rubber bands. I have no idea on a restaurant. I just knew that I wanted to own my own business. The funny thing is when I struck out and had my own business, I realized that, at that point, this is a job and all of my customers really are my clients, and they own my business. You know what I mean? So kind of looking back onto my grandfather's experience and what I observed is like, this guy was an entrepreneur. He was not self-employed. He was technically. He was not a business owner, although he was technically, but he was an entrepreneur, and he was living the entrepreneur lifestyle. I quickly realized that, hey man, having a business as a business owner workday. Having the entrepreneur lifestyle takes a whole lot of work.
So pause there for let's take a pit stop along the journey here, because I think what you're bringing up is, for the listeners, it's very important. It's an incredible distinction. The difference between an entrepreneurial, what was the language you used? An entrepreneurial lifestyle, or say it again.
Or a business owner workday.
Or a business owner workday. Okay, so unpack those two a little more differently, because we can all have our own interpretation of what we think that means based off of our experiences. But give us what it means for you.
So, I talk with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I there's a distinction there as well, because it's some mindset, it's some behavior, but it's what we allow ourselves to get into. When we strike out and go into business, the vision we have is the entrepreneur lifestyle.
Which is what? Describe that for a minute.
Let's look at 5 freedoms.
Okay.
5 entrepreneurial freedoms.
Okay.
And I've kind of made them to where they're alphabetical.
Okay.
C, chronological. Really, that's time freedom, right?
Okay.
So we want the time to be able to do the things that we want to do in our lives.
Yep.
Right. The next one is decision freedom.
Okay.
We want to be able to make the decisions. So if I'm working in a career and my boss is crazy and I think I could do a better job, right? I don't have decision freedom. So we strike out with the idea that, once we're an entrepreneur, we're going to have the time, we're going to be able to make all the decisions because we're smarter, we can do a little bit better. The third freedom is emotional freedom.
Okay.
Right? If I'm stuck in the day-to-day, or if I'm in a job stuck in the day-to-day, I want to free myself so I can have that emotional freedom where I'm just not tied to everything and it doesn't impact me. The fourth is financial freedom.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about becoming independently wealthy, right? Everybody thinks, well, I'm going to start this company and I'll be able to do whatever I want to do. No. At the end, true financial freedom is the freedom to be able to walk away if that's what you want to do. If you want to pursue something else, or you find another passion or another purpose, I'm going to be able to make that call.
And or decide whether I want to go up in my, not
Change
have a
roles.
ceiling of a ceiling of earnings, right?
That's exactly
I feel
right.
like that I have autonomy to be able to do those things.
That's exactly right.
All right. What's
then
the
fifth one is geographical freedom. You know what I mean? If I'm tied to my company and I have to be there every single day, or I worry emotional that everything's going to fall apart without me, then, I'm kind of stuck in that. And so what happens is we strike out into business.
Okay, let's go through them again, though, before we go. So let's repeat these. So we have C, which is chronological, which is time.
Time freedom.
And then we had D, which is decision. Okay. And then we had
emotional freedom.
E for emotional. And then F for financial. And then G for geographic. Where? Okay.
Right.
All right. That's worth repeating. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Let me have a little light bulb
moment. I'm thinking from my own self, right? As you frame it so incredibly, and I'm a small business owner myself. I can see in there, and then as the work that I do, thinking for leaders, right? Like, this is where you bump up against something, right? Like, what am I able to make the decisions? Do I have the financial freedom that I want, and or is it moving me closer? And so repeating it back for the listener to be able to write it down and or then see themselves and where they are. Okay.
Yeah, and what they need to work on.
And to kind of get an idea of where they're where they are and what they want to work on. Okay, so you start off on the entrepreneurial path. Not you, but finish your statement that you were going to say. So for most,
the vision is to have entrepreneurial freedom, right? And what this company that I'm building is going to bring me. Almost immediately, we get sucked into the business owner workday. Right.
And tell me what that looks like. Tell me what your definition of that is.
Well, I need to be clear, right? We have self-employed, business owners, and entrepreneurs.
Yep.
There is nothing wrong at all being a business owner. There are some people that really love being a business owner, being there day to day in the decision-making process. And that's where they need to be.
It's their gift zone. It's where they come alive. It meets all the other. Listen, you can have the chronologicals, right? You can have the other 5, and it serves them for what they want in their life in each of those
100%.
areas as well. Okay, great.
And that's beautiful,
yes.
right?
Yep.
So you can be a business owner and not be very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Right. You can be self-employed and be extremely entrepreneurial.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But so you got to just realize, where do I want to be? Self-employed, business owner, or entrepreneur? For the folks that are business owners and want to be entrepreneurials, that's the reason they got into it. That's who I help the most. Again, there's nothing wrong with being in it, but most people are pursuing something that they envisioned and they went off track. That's from my first book, Business Mulligan. It's like you're at a golf swing and all of a sudden it goes off track. That is exactly what happens in business. Without you asking the question, I'm going to kind of tell you what happened with me. Is if I look back at my observations from my grandfather, one of the things I feel like he taught me most, again, without saying a word, is that you build your business to sell a company. That's a big piece of what we're trying to define right there, the distinction between business and company or business owner and entrepreneur is a lot of us get stuck in that run mode, right? And this is the distinction. When I'm a business owner, I'm in run mode. I'm running the business. I love it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Unless I don't love it, then I need to get myself into grow mode. And so we help people go from run mode to grow mode, from business owner to entrepreneur, from business to company. And that's really where I've just figured out, if I do have a superpower, it's helping them transform into that entrepreneur they were designed to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if I were to play that back to you using some different language, and I'm going to ask you this, I'm going to say it back to you in a way that I want you to say, yeah, that you got it, right? Your ideal client would be, I opened a company. I started an organization, right? Thinking I wanted entrepreneurship. I wanted freedom in all 5 of those. And it might have started with financial and time, right? And then now I got that. So maybe now it's into geography. I actually don't have it in one of those. I might have capped out financially. It's actually sucking more of my time than I ever imagined. That's when I'm now in business mode. Would you say that?
Yeah.
And so now if it's dependent upon me from 8 to 5 or 24/7, or I am not able to take a vacation, or I'm not able to actually even step away to live the life that I thought when you own a business is the life you actually get to live, what my vision of that was for myself and the people I love the most. That is an ideal person to come to your organization, because you then get to assess or help them assess, where is it that we can take you from business mode to true entrepreneurial to set you up, which is where the growth happens to truly get you set up to where you want to go.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, my wife's an attorney, and we used to office at the same building we own. And she says, your clients hug you and y'all laugh. It's because we're growing their companies and we're improving their lives.
Yeah.
She fights about money all day, and so she never understood.
Yeah.
Like, what's this? So it is fun.
Yeah.
And it just fuels me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing. When you opened up, you said, I think I heard 3 things. One of them was passion, right? Which is, from what you've described so far, we can definitely hear your passion. Yeah. Tell me about the vision for Company Growth Advisors as an organization.
You know, Company Growth Advisors is a resource for both advisors, consultants, and coaches. All right. So we work with service-based business owners, and we're trying to move them from run mode to grow mode. And we do that through the integrated growth system. You know, if you think about those 3 levels of support, advisors, consultants, and coaches, how do we integrate that into a company that has most time 4 levels. We have an owner, we have a leadership team, we have the emerging leaders and team members, and you gotta merge those, right? And you gotta integrate this system, but you can't do it all at once. You simply cannot do it all at once. You have to integrate into the company in stages. And so we work with the owner first. And we transform them working through mindset and clarity and vision. And once they're ready to start identifying the leadership team and starting to develop the leadership team and delegate to them, that's when we bring on the leadership team. And again, we're integrated at 3 levels on our side, 4 levels on theirs. After we work with the leadership team a little bit, we start identifying and developing the emerging leaders, then the team members. And so we have a beautiful system that works well at all 4 levels of your company. The concept, though, is to move that company from business to company. And that's a transformation, and it takes a little time.
It takes a little time.
Yeah.
It does. So your organization of company growth advisors is providing the resources that are competent, that have proven systems and resources, if you will, to meet the organization where they are, to help them keep moving, but they don't have to go out on their own. Like it's an intact. They don't have to go, for lack of a better term, cherry pick. They don't have to go find this person to help them here and that person to help them there. It really is, I don't know if the word's a cohort, it really is a wealth of collective wisdom that they get to tap into so that they can navigate all that's needed to move them. How do you say that? From run mode to grow mode? From run mode to grow mode. I love that.
Yeah, and seeing that one of the keys is not putting too much on them. Mm-hmm. You know, if I were to work with you and your company and I said, hey, install this framework and do this, well, then I've just added on to your chaos, right?
Yeah.
And so often owners will read a book or they'll go to some conference or they'll take this online course or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. And then they bring that back to the company and now that's another thing they have to work in.
Yeah.
Right? And so our idea is let's divide and conquer, right? Let's take things off of the owner.
Yeah.
Let's take things off of the leadership team and streamline it and develop the emerging leaders on and on throughout the company. Don't add on, take off.
Yeah.
And when we do it at the pace that we do it, it's a little better. Again, it's transformation. It is not a transactional type deal. It's not a very quick fix type deal. Nothing good. It really is.
Yeah.
You know?
It makes me think of 2 things come up. One is a filter that I have. Am I more of a resource than a demand?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm hearing you say, right?
Yeah.
We look at what we do in helping you through that lens of are we more of a resource to you than a demand? Because if it's the opposite, people say no.
Yeah, and another key for us is just access.
Yeah.
You know, so if you are a marketing director at a company and you're working with us, they have access to a veteran marketer with more than 30 years experience, owned her own agency as our senior advisors. They also have access to, really quality content on things like SEO, on building websites, on building a marketing team, a marketing calendar. I could go on and on and on for marketing, but it's access at 3 different kind of, if you say, departments, right? We have marketing, which starts everything off, right? And then you have sales, so lead generation, client conversion, right? Marketing, sales, operations, administration, leadership, and personal development. So we are more resource. We have a little bit for everybody, but it's a library of resources to access when you need it.
Yeah.
rather than us pushing it all on you.
Yeah. The key terminology there, right? When you need it.
That's right.
Yeah, because not one shoe, you and I both know in the work that we do, not one shoe fits all, not one book fits all, not one system fits all.
Correct.
It's based off of what is the presenting problem and what are the options.
That's right.
And the best technique or resource to support that.
Yep.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Let me ask you, the podcast name is Lead, Grow, Live.
Mm-hmm.
And so break that down, break each of those down for us in our conversation and then the audience that's listening.
Yeah, sure.
What does it look like within Company Growth Advisors from a lead perspective, from a grow perspective, and a live perspective?
Yeah. We named it that based upon the premise that Company Growth Advisors and Company Growth Academy is all about helping you, 1, lead your people.
Okay.
2, grow your company.
Okay.
And then 3, live your life. Again, I said Company Growth Advisors, if you call it a tagline, better company, better life. Advisors and Academy have 2 different missions.
Mm-hmm.
That was the mission of Advisors. Company Growth Academy is as people grow, companies grow.
Yeah.
Right? So we are built to help you develop them both professionally and personally.
Okay.
So going back to leading your people,
mm-hmm.
we work with the owners and they're on one track. We work with the leaders, they're on another track, and the emerging leaders. The owners, we just help them, like we've talked about, go from run mode to grow mode, go from business owner to entrepreneur. We talk a lot with our owners about exit and having a healthy, wealthy exit.
Mm-hmm.
As much as some people don't like to bring up, oh man, you're going to sell your company. There are 7 or 8 different ways to exit your company. And oftentimes we just talk about exiting the role you're in, either the current role or getting to the role you want. And so we kind of start with the end in mind with those guys. As far as developing the leadership teams, a lot of companies, they have key people and they have people that take on a lot of stuff. But what we ultimately do is we overwhelm those folks and we divide their attention. And so we help build a leadership team that can help it become a valuable team-led company. That's the outcome we're looking there. When it comes to the emerging leaders, we help really get them to where they're models for both the people that they report to and to the team members. So they're inspiring models. That's the goal for that side level.
Yeah.
And then with the team members, one of the craziest things out there is they do these studies and they found that 66% of all employees are disengaged, right? So only 33% or 34% of employees out there are fully engaged. Of the 66%, about a third of them are just completely disengaged. They're literally looking for other jobs, you know what I mean? But for those 66%, they're either bored or it's just a job, it's not a career, or they're looking on social media and they're seeing their friends in Florida and they're going, man, it's where I want to be. Imagine if we can get that team 100% engaged and contributing to the vision of the owner.
Or even 75%.
It's just 75%.
Or 80% engaged.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's our goal, though, is we're gonna push to be 100% engaged and everybody contributing to the vision of the company. And so one of the hardest things of all in this whole, lead your people is clearly communicating the vision so everybody can see it from your perspective, because we typically see the owner's vision from our own perspective, whether we're a leader or a team member or whatever. And it's because it's not very clear, And so that's really where we are about lead your people.
Yeah.
Growing your company is I think we need 4 things. I think we need a system.
Okay.
We need a coach. We need a peer group, and we need continuing education. Right. And we do that by having peer groups for the entrepreneurs and the leadership teams. we have the Entrepreneur Peer Councils, and that's where we get entrepreneurs from different industries. Nobody's competing, and we put them in a room together. And we meet once a month on that track, grow mode to run mode, run mode to grow mode. Getting the leaders in a peer group, where I can get in there and have access to these senior advisors in my particular thing, whether it's marketing, sales, operation, admin, leadership, or personal development, and then really working with the emerging leaders and the team members to develop them both personally and professionally. And so that's how we grow your company. Again, I will say it till I'm blue in the face. As people grow, companies grow.
So the grow mode, you have 4 key things, and a takeaway that I have from what you described of the entrepreneur peer councils and the team members coming together, and then the education, and I might be missing another one, and I might have butchered some of the words.
A system.
A system.
The integrated growth system.
Okay, you've got the system for that.
Yeah.
What comes up for me when you share all that, Jeff, is this collective wisdom, right? Beyond the the resources. I mean, the value of having the resources across all these modalities that a small to medium-sized business has access to, right, when they are ready, again, as well as can a system that they can plug into when they're ready as resources. The peer group itself, coming from the word peer, there's an opportunity to be in a room with others that are having successes, struggles, ideas, experiences that have the opportunity to unearth a collective wisdom that you might not have otherwise have had.
The co-learning and co-teaching is unbelievably valuable. It's one of those things. And I'd like to say, well, no, I want you to look at the system. I created the system. You get a collective group of entrepreneurs. They're never going to be at the same stage. And we intentionally put them as non-competitive industries. You're not going to have 2 car dealerships. You're not going to have 2 contractors. And so, but what I've always been amazed at, and it's the most beautiful thing, is this person in this one industry has a problem. This person in a completely different industry at a completely different phase of growth, right? Has a solution for that person, right? And so, the EPCs, the Entrepreneur Peer Councils, is one of the most valuable components of it.
Well, and then it has me think too of really some of the characteristic traits of entrepreneurs, right? That they are naturally problem solvers, right? That they're naturally they're pretty driven, and they tend to want to solve something, make a difference somewhere, contribute to something. And so bring them an issue, right? They're also action oriented, right? They've got to be. That's just, they're naturally wired in this way. And so for them to be able to contribute to someone else by sharing their own ideas, by what they've learned based off of what they've done, by using what's in them, or, some other guidance is powerful.
Oh, it's
to be in a community of that. We're not meant to do life or business alone.
No,
and so
and
to be in community,
we've said being a leader is lonely.
It is.
And you get in a room with people of like mind,
who get it,
like spirit, they get it. I'm gonna tell you, it really fuels that fire.
That's amazing. Great. That's great. Thank you for pausing there. Okay, talk to us about live. Talk to us about the live section of Lead, Grow, Live. I go back to the 5 entrepreneurial freedoms, right? Again, we go into business so we can live these amazing, peaceful lives. And again, it peaceful. I wonder how many in the entrepreneurial space would say, I have a peaceful life. That's incredible. That vision is really beautiful.
My one word last year was peace. And I, not only find peace in my own life, right, and with my family, but peace for my clients. In fact, if you look at my where I usually sit, what is it? It says peace.
Oh, peace. Right? Oh, yeah, because I noticed mine when I was sitting on that side. It said joy.
And so most business owners that want to be entrepreneurs, they're really not at peace. They're just really not at peace. And so I'm gonna tell you one of the most gratifying things that ever happened to me. Is I was at Albertsons one day. I was at a grocery store, and I ran into a client and his wife, and his wife hugged me, and I didn't know her well at the time. And she said, "Thank you for giving me my husband back."
Mm.
And that's peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not that I hear that every day, but I know that they're engaging differently.
Yeah.
Because I'm figuring stuff out at, we also say, what got you here won't get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my ideal clients, they've arrived somewhere. They've done pretty well.
Yeah.
And so, but that's where they got.
Yeah.
And that might be their capacity.
Yeah.
Right?
Who are your ideal clients?
Yeah, I would say service-based business owners.
Okay.
These are the guys that, from plumbing to physical therapists, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got into business. They're the technicians,
okay.
and they provide a service. The challenge is they are the service.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And they do that for many, many years. And at some point, whether it's 10 years, 15, 20 years, they get to a point where they realize, like, I can't keep doing this the way I'm doing it, or, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm doing it, and then have the life I really need.
Mm-hmm.
Or because opportunities just pass you by. Your head is down. You're looking in. You're in run mode,
or
right?
one or more of those 5 freedoms is being tested,
escaping.
or
Yeah.
or is no longer what it once was.
Yeah.
Or
I have to be there.
Yeah.
So the first deal is get them out of the day-to-day,
mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's chaotic or not, we have to get them out of the day-to-day, and then we have to let them look and see what's going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
What other opportunities can I look at or pursue? Or can I just grow my company?
Yeah.
Right? Can I have 2 locations, or can I franchise and have a bunch of locations?
Mm-hmm.
When you're stuck in that day to day, you can't do any of it. People find out who my clients are. I'd rather not find out their revenue numbers, but they've arrived.
Yeah.
They're doing well.
They're established.
Most of my clients have between 10 and 40 employees, because 10 employees that's kind of where the chaos starts,
mm-hmm.
and up to 40. And so you have to bring order to that chaos. And so we really truly help, with the processes and systems. I would say the last part of my ideal client is that clock is ticking,
mm-hmm.
and they know at some point I have to exit either this role, or I have to exit this company. And I have to do it in a healthy way,
mm-hmm.
right? And I have to leave this company in a position to go on without me.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of who we are, we have to start thinking about the end, right? Yeah. And when I'm exiting, because there really are only a few ways to exit. We either sell to someone, or we merge with someone, or maybe we hire somebody to run it,
mm-hmm.
or we pass it down to our kids, and that's effectively a sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or we close the doors and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing, that's about 90%, and no exaggeration.
Yeah.
That's about 90% of the folks that go into to business
mm-hmm.
ultimately just close their doors and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing more sad to me.
Yeah, the last day that they work is the last day that the company exists.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
Yeah.
And, what's funny though is I have a lot of business broker friends. We have some consultants
mm-hmm.
who are business brokers.
Mm-hmm.
Either they come to me or they come to a business broker and they say, I want to sell my company.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of look at it and you go, you're not ready to sell. You're not in position to sell.
Yeah.
And so with our ultimate outcome is to help you have a healthy, wealthy exit. That's the whole game. But in the meantime, have a lot of growth, right?
Yeah.
And in the areas where you need to grow.
Yeah.
So
to poise yourself for that sale.
Yeah, it's about positioning.
Yeah.
But,
so even if an assessment, of this is ultimately where I want to go, but I'm not looking at doing that in the next year or two, it's still worth looking at having someone come in and do an assessment to really understand what it is that you ultimately want, so that you can navigate through what journey might need to be in place for you to ultimately get what you want to get.
That's exactly
Even
right.
if everything seems to be okay today, right? Kind of have some foresight going forward as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Passion and peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Passionate about what you do and who you do it with and why you got there in the first place, and then peace, ultimately finding peace. Yeah. We talked about lead. We talked about grow and prepare for whatever is next and what next looks like. Let's talk about live.
Again, it's the reason we go into business in the first place.
Yeah.
Is so we have this great, amazing, peaceful life. But too often we get sucked in and we're digging in the rest of our career, and we just get stuck, right? And so I kind of often tell this story. This is the truth. Katie and I would pick our kids up at Pius at their elementary school about 2:00 when they let out. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And we'd head off to Destin. Well, from 2 to 5, I was a bloody nightmare. I was a bear because at the office, the phone was still ringing. You know what I mean? Everything was happening. People were making decisions on my behalf, and it was difficult. 5:00 comes and I'm at peace. I'm fine. Nothing can happen. It's a Friday. I'm good to go. All weekend long, I had a nice little trip. And then normally we would go when we had a Monday off, for example. And then Monday, 8:00 comes. And I'm just like, no, man, this is terrible. And I'm talking to them. They're down at the beach. You know, that's not what you got in business to do.
Yeah.
It's just not. And so Dustin and I did a video one time called the vacation test. Right. And
tell me about this.
If you can't schedule a 2-week vacation, right. And know that you can be completely free without worrying about the phone calls, without worrying about the drama, without worrying about just the whole business falling apart while you're not there, then you're not ready.
Yeah.
You do not pass the vacation test. I would say if you're in a position right now to take a 2 or 4 week vacation, then you're doing great. Unfortunately, 99% of the people out there are not in that position.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's when you know that all the hard work you've done, all the systems and processes you've employed, all of the people you've developed and everything is working, then you can live your life. Then you got to figure out, well, what do I want to do with my life? You know what I mean? I mean, that's the key is understanding your purpose. You know, I always say if your personal purpose, your God-given reason that you're on this earth does not match and align with your company's purpose, well, then you either need to work on the company or maybe you need to get out of that and do something else to develop a more congruent life purpose and business purpose situation.
It would be most challenging to experience peace in that sort of environment. For sure, that you describe, you know, when that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I
that's
mean,
the ultimate
look
goal.
at me. I can take it in my own life. You know, again, I say, God put me on this earth to help business owners live great lives, right?
Yeah.
I know that's what I do in my company.
Yeah.
I mean, that is 100% what I'm focused on. And I think the same in you. I think you are living your purpose and it's completely congruent with the company you built. Yep.
I agree with you.
And so I challenge anybody and everybody to just think about it.
Yeah.
And if I'm incongruent and I'm just not really building a company that aligns with my personal value and my purpose, then it's going to be so exhausting, so hard. Because it's just not aligned, you know, and so that's and it's kind of deep, you know, and I'm kind of a jokey guy, but man, I'm gonna tell you what, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody who is miserable and not at peace and unhappy and unfulfilled.
Yeah, well, we are human beings, not human doings.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, we are, and so the depth of that is, it matters. It absolutely matters. Yeah. Well, what I know to be true about you is you have both depth and humor, and you also have incredible passion, and those merge together. The depth and the humor merge together to intersect where your passion comes. Really just alive, Jeff. And whoever's ever had the opportunity to meet you and be in your physical presence, it's palpable. We've known one another for many years. You've been on an endless pursuit. I feel confident to even say endless because I don't know that I don't see it ending for you, right? It's like part of your hardwiring, that to follow the path that your passion continues to reveal, right? Each step along the way. And I commend you. I commend you for that. I commend you for the perseverance, for the persistence, for the consistent clarity, for the conviction, for the belief in it. You've lived it. You've then been on an endless pursuit to prove it so that you can help others. And you've done that, and you continue to refine that, particularly with Company Growth Advisors and Company Growth Academy. So thank you for the opportunity to sit down in the host seat.
I know it's kind of weird, both. It's weird being here.
And the opportunity to interview you and to be a part of your journey along the way.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you.